Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to this episode of the program, Everything Catholic. That program in which we discuss anything and everything about the Catholic Church. I'm glad to have you join us on this episode. I do sincerely apologize that I was not able to join up last week for our last episode. I had some other engagements that kept me away. But we are here now. My name is Father Silvanus Ame. Our guest for this week is Very Reverend Father Louis Shebanya Duniya of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja. Father Duniya is also currently the Vocations Director of the Archdiocese of Abuja, and he has held this position for quite a number of years. Father, you are most welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, we are looking at some practical considerations on the Sacrament of Holy Orders. We have dealt with an introductory part last week, and we've talked about a number of issues surrounding it as a sacrament. Then now let's talk about some issues that are very practical. And I would like to begin by asking, what is or what are the basic requirements for the reception of the Sacrament of Holy Orders?
Thank you very much, Fathers Ame and Father Nebo Boniface for inviting me. Requirements for the Sacrament of Holy Orders. These are more like canonical requirements that a candidate must possess for him to be admitted into the Sacrament of Holy Orders. First and foremost, the requirements have to do first with some qualities. First, that you must have the requisite knowledge. You must have requisite knowledge. You must have some probity, moral probity. You must possess some psychological as well as physical characteristics that are positive. You must have virtue that is proven. And if you decide to step this down into aspects that the training carries along, then we begin to talk about the fact that whoever must be admitted into the Sacrament of Holy Orders must know what he is applying to receive. He must also have the freedom to choose in terms of him putting up his application, having also been equipped with the nature of that service. Okay. And then, of course, every other aspect of the requirement will fall in place in terms of the major pillars. And that is why the life of anyone who aspires, especially to the, I hope you know, we have 3 levels, three degrees of that. So we are talking more about
orders generally.
The orders generally, and the entry point is sacred diaconate. So a candidate at that level will first have to be sound morally. Of course, you must have gone through philosophical, theological studies. You must be baptized as a Catholic. You must be baptized male, that's canon 1028 or so. And then you have to be confirmed too, as a basic requirement. And then if you flip it on the other side, you must be stable. Because if you have any case of insanity or other things that are supposed to impede, you must not have any impediment. Okay. That is canonically stated. to be admitted. So, but the basic requirements have to do with these that we have mentioned.
Moral stability, psychological stability, academic qualification, reception of sacraments of baptism and confirmation. It must also be a male. Okay, that's very clear enough. But I'd like to ask something too. Is there a consideration of age when it comes to someone who can receive the sacrament of holy orders? In baptism, the Catechism talks about age of reason. Baptism confirmation. Is age also a factor as a requirement for receiving holy orders?
It is.
Okay.
Age is a factor.
So what would be the age?
The age for admittance into the priesthood is 25.
One must be 25.
You must be 25. Okay. And then 23 for sacred diaconate.
Okay.
Now, in the event that one does not meet up with any of these, then there will be need for a dispensation.
Who gives the dispensation?
And if the dispensation is beyond a year, then it is open to the Holy See.
Okay. So if it is less than a year, the
local bishop can grant the dispensation.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you very sincerely, Father. Now, having talked about the requirements for admission into formation for the priesthood and subsequent admittance into the sacred priesthood, I want to ask, and indeed, it is right and just that we also know what constitutes impediments or can stop somebody from, going in, either before admission or even in the process of journey to the priesthood.
Okay, there are some impediments that automatically excludes anybody from the priesthood, and I think the section on impediment talks about regular and irregularity and impediments. Now, basically, I mentioned something about having sanity. Yeah. You must have, if you have any case of insanity,
that's an impediment.
That's a very big impediment. Then there are issues around apostasy, issues of around apostasy or Sikhism or basically, if you have apostatized or that's renounced the faith or whatever, that already excludes you automatically. And then also we have very clear issues of impediment around anyone who may have usurped office of a bishop or
a clergy when he's not.
When you are not, that automatically impedes you from the Sacrament of Orders. And
in line with this, can someone who has married before, or attempted marriage?
That was yet another one I wanted to say. Okay. If you have attempted marriage before, whether civil or whatever, automatically you are impeded from. In fact, you are impeded from the Sacrament of Orders. Okay. So those constitute some of the impediments. They may be not exhaustive, but basically they constitute major impediments to.
Okay. Very interesting. I want to raise a concern this time around about people on the path to the priesthood.
Okay.
In this context, seminarian.
Okay.
And here the concern will be on discernment.
Okay.
What is discernment and what does it entail or entails or constitutes?
Now, you see, when it comes to the issue of vocations and discernment, we talk about three agencies at work. One, the God who calls, the one who answers, that talking about the aspirants who feels called, and then the church that plays the role of managing that call on behalf of Christ as yes. And so these three agencies play out together. Now, it is the role of the person who feels called to submit himself through procedures, get admitted where possible. Of course, if you have met the requirements, at that stage, we are basically talking about requirement of faith. You must be a Catholic, you must have this, you must have that, you must be healthy, and then you must have also the educational requirements to be able to be admitted. Of course, the basic requirements border around the fact that those requirements should also be able to admit you to basic university around. So it's not as though a second world is created, no. But at the end of the day, you are admitted to toe a different line of formation. So from that point, once admitted, that is when the process of discernment begins. Now, you feel called. The church, that's why we call it formation. There is a form the church wants to build you into.
Okay.
And then you may come with a very vague idea. And this idea begin to get better with time. And you need every help, each step of the way, to be able to help you realize that call. And that is where all those who act as formators, be they lay faithful, be they priests, religious, all who are in active formation in the seminary, outside of the seminary, are supposed to assist. Nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. So it is presumed that you come with the best of intentions to offer yourself in service to God. And it is not unlikely, too, that even from the little things we know in basic psychology around Johari's window, that you don't see everything about yourself. Sure. So there are things about you that you may not see, but your attention may be drawn to. And then if you are open to formation, you may find yourself adjusting, and over time you mature. So that's where we talk about maturation of the candidate. So each step of the way signals a growth. And that is where discernment comes in, and it keeps growing. But the idea is to build 4 basic components. 1, to build a very spiritually matured person, an academically formidable person, a pastorally disposed individual, and then we talk about the very 4th pillar, a humanly viable and integral person, so that at the end of the day we will have somebody who is really ready to serve the church and God in that capacity.
I recall that my rector in the spiritual year said to us when we first came in, you have come here to do 3 things: to unlearn the wrong things you've learned before, to learn new things that are good, and to relearn the good things that you've known before. On that note, we are going to take a short break right now. And when we come back, we continue the discussion. Please don't go away. You stay with us.
Everything Catholic, a program that discusses anything and everything about the Catholic Church. Faith, doctrines, morals, canon law, church governance, papal documents, you name it. As long as it is Catholic, it shall be discussed. Join Father Ahmed Silvanus and Father Nebo Boniface, 2 priests passionate about teaching the true faith of the Catholic Church, as their hosts bishops, priests, religious and distinguished laymen and women, to discuss and simplify the wealth of the Church's teachings. Everything Catholic, showing on Catholic television, CTV. Everything Catholic, teaching the faith.
Welcome back to the program, Everything Catholic. We've been having a very interesting discussion on the Sacrament of Holy Orders, and we are taking some practical considerations. Before we went on that short break, our guest, Father Duniya, spoke on the agents of formation. Formators in the seminary, formators outside of the seminary, the church, basically. But I like to pick up the discussion from that point. And when we talk about the church, we also look at the laity and the clergy. Majorly, your response was focused on the clergy. But then I like to ask, what roles do lay people play for the laity in the churches where seminarians will work, and even their own biological family? What roles do they play in the formation of the seminarian and in the discernment of their vocation?
Thank you for bringing this question, and I want to assure you it is one aspect of formation that we are trying to take to the next level in our archdiocese.
Yeah.
Because for so long a time, the emphasis has been, on the clergy. But you know that we can't have any valid ordination without, at least at the level of diaconate and priestly, without sending out bands.
Exactly.
To ask for the input of the laity. But it goes just beyond just bands. But the bands itself is supposed to be a statement of how important these people are in the formation of their priests. Now, the laity are very, very important. Very, very important in the sense that, you see, like Hebrews chapter 5 will tell us that the priest is taken from amongst the people and chosen from amongst them to serve in a special capacity. Now, that he has been taken from amongst the people does not alienate him from the people. And that is why you mentioned family, and then you mentioned also the bigger family, which is the parish. They live amongst the people, they serve in parishes, and it is expected that out of fraternal charity, the people will be involved in correcting them fraternally each time they fall into any error. And they are also under obligation to draw the attention of the church should they find anything morally questionable that is capable of constituting a bigger issue should such person be allowed to continue and embrace the others. And to this extent, therefore, we must continually open the life of the seminarian or whoever aspires to the priesthood to the input of the laity. But this time around, we must be a little more careful so that we do not allow people who are biased and angry to hijack the process. But one thing I assure you is that the church does not just act on just hearsay. Because from my little experience doing this job, we've had cases where people raised issues, and of course you are given opportunity to substantiate what you are alleging. And if there are very pressing issues, and truly so, the church is under obligation to act accordingly. So the involvement of the laity is very key. At this stage, we are even working out documents or forms that will eventually go out, and will work out the modality of having the laity make active input, just as priests write reports, so that we can have a balanced perspective in terms of.
Okay. This is a very interesting one. That the formation of the clergy or would-be priests is collective.
It is collective
The
responsibility.
clergy alone. Now, I wanted to have a word for seminarians in formation as regards to honest disposition for genuine discernment.
Now, there are 1,001 reasons, especially in this part of our world, for some concerns. And that is where, when you said honest disposition, I can relate with it. Especially that we have a country now, and this part of our sub-region, where poverty has become very endemic. And if care is not taken, some people want to take priesthood as a cover, and flee from the poverty that exists out there. In any case, the life of a priest does not also suggest riches, because like the then Archbishop Emeritus Cardinal Nikon will say, if you come to the priesthood to look for what is not there, you only get miserable. And you are all testimonies to all of that. So the truth is this. It is only expected that those who approach us with the honest intention to serve. And there is no how we can know anybody's intention except by what you display. And that is why I used to have a formator who used to say, it is presumed that a seminarian is at his best 24 hours. It is not when you are caught doing the wrong thing, you say, no, this is not what I mean. He will tell you, even if I cut your heart and open your heart, I won't see your intention there. But you display it from your actions.
Father, thank you very much. We will not be able to continue. It has been an interesting discussion. Father has been Vocation Director for about 10 years. In fact, he was Vocation Director at the time I was ordained. So he practically planned my ordination and that of Father Boniface. And today we are firing in questions. So we'll be wrapping up on that note today. It has been a very interesting discussion on the Sacrament of Holy Orders. We thank you for being part of the program. Please keep it with us next week. Do not forget, you can reach us with your comments and recommendations and questions through any of our social media handles on your screen. Please don't forget, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can send us a mail, send us a question using any of our contacts. Please, we are still asking, help us keep this program on air. We will appreciate your support greatly. Thank you very much, and God bless you. We'll see you next week.